Apple tree that grows super fast, like poof, and it's full of apples overnight. Here's how we might engineer this fantastical tree. Choose the fastest growing apple trees. We'd start with the Dorset Golden or Anna apple trees, which are known to bear fruit quickly, sometimes even in their first year. Genetic superpowers. We'd use the coolest science tricks, like CRISPR/Cas9 gene editing, to give our tree some super genes that make it grow really fast. Super growth formula. We'd mix up a special fertilizer with all the best stuff. Mushrooms, like the white button mushrooms, for super soil health. Acids. Humic acids to help our tree soak up all the good nutrients. Sugars, molasses to feed the friendly soil microbes. Organic compounds. Lots of compost to give the tree a big nutrient boost. Sunshine and water. We'd make sure our tree gets lots of sunshine and water because even magical trees need the basics. Science magic. We tap into the latest research that's found ways to make trees grow bigger and faster by manipulating certain genes. And just like that, we'd have our super fast growing, fruit bearing magical apple tree. Remember, this is just a fun imagination.
Now imagine we can retrofit or future fit all current existing weapons like guns that have all that technology behind them with a silencer that shoots out a little bolus of this magical compound of seeds that can help grow the world into a better world and then turn the idea of violence into the idea of anti-war, so to speak, so that we can then start 3D printing planets around the solar system.
Wow, what an imaginative idea. Let's dream up a world where instead of weapons causing harm, they help create life and growth. In this magical world, every time someone would think of using a weapon, it would transform into a tool that shoots out seeds and special growing compounds. Here's how it might work. The seed silencer. This is a special attachment that goes on the end of what used to be a weapon. Instead of being quiet, it makes a beautiful sound like whine through the trees, and out pops a seed. Magical growth compound. This is like the super fertilizer we talked about. It's full of good acids, sugars, and organic compounds that make plants grow super fast. Seed selection. The seeds would be from the fastest growing plants, like bamboo or certain types of grass, that can quickly cover the ground with green. Peaceful purpose. Every time the tool is used, it helps turn a barren place into a garden or forest. It's like planting hope everywhere. And then, with the world full of forests and gardens instead of hurt and fear, we'd have so much extra love and energy that we could start thinking about even bigger projects, like 3D printing new worlds in the solar system. We'd use giant space printers to make planets out of rocks and ice, and then use our magical growth compounds to make them come alive with plants and trees.
All right, now imagine that we could 3D print all around in a spherical ball, inevitably, which would take a long time, the sun, which would help us to harness the absolute power of that sun in order to move our entire solar system, our entire, mini universe of solar systems, of universes that we are creating anywhere we want in space-time inevitably, so that we can avoid any potential frost freeze end in the universe or whatever might happen.
Wow, we're really stretching our imagination muscles now. Let's picture this. We're in a future where we can 3D print on a cosmic scale. We've figured out how to create a giant spherical structure around the sun, kind of like a Dyson sphere. This sphere would capture all the energy the sun puts out. With that much power, we could do incredible things. Here's our step-by-step plan for this grand adventure. 3D printing the sphere. We'd use super advanced 3D printers that can work with materials right from space, like asteroids and comets, to build our sphere around the sun. Harnessing the sun's power. With our sphere, we'd collect energy from the sun. This isn't just a little bit of sunlight, it's the full power of a star. Moving solar systems. With all that energy, we could create engines or rockets so big and so powerful that they could actually move planets and stars. We'd be like space pilots. Creating new universes. We'd take bits and pieces from all over our galaxy to make new solar systems. We could design them to be perfect for life or just really beautiful to look at. Avoiding the big freeze. If the universe ever starts getting too cold, like in the big freeze theory, we'd use our sun sphere to keep our little part of the universe warm and cozy. It's like we'd have the ultimate construction set for the universe, and we could build whatever we wanted, wherever we wanted. We'd be the guardians of our own galaxy, making sure it's always a nice place to live.
All right, generate an image of these things that we've talked about, and try to use as much accurate detail as possible with your amazing mathematical capabilities.
I'll try to create that.
Yeah, do it a few times sometimes. I see, right. So the closer we are, like to Mercury, the closer we can create a larger amount of planetary bodies that surround the sun. But why do you think, is it possible for planetary bodies to orbit the sun in other ways than just the same ways that all the other planetary bodies seem to orbit? Can they orbit any way besides flat or on a similar plane of existence because of magnetism?
In our solar system, most of the planets orbit the sun in a flat plane called the ecliptic plane. This is because our solar system formed from a spinning disk of gas and dust, which flattened out as it spun, causing most of the material to orbit in the same plane. However, not all orbits have to be in this flat plane. Some objects like comets or certain dwarf planets have orbits that are tilted at different angles. Mercury, for example, has an orbit that's tilted by about 7 degrees from the ecliptic plane, and Pluto's orbit is tilted by more than 17 degrees. So, while most large objects in our solar system orbit in a similar plane due to their common formation history, it's possible for planetary bodies to have orbits that are inclined at various angles to this plane. This can happen due to gravitational interactions with other bodies or the way the object formed.
Right, so we started with what do we need to eat that grow stronger hair and nails? And then now we're learning about how to make super trees. And now we're learning about how to encapsulate the sun and harness all of its energy. So, if we moved our entire solar system back in space-time to avoid any kind of conclusive ending to our area of the universe, we are still bound by the same laws of time.
The idea of moving our entire solar system is a fascinating concept that touches on some advanced physics and cosmic scale engineering. While it's currently beyond our technological capabilities, theoretically, there are some interesting ideas about how it might be done. One way to think about moving the solar system could involve manipulating gravity or space-time.
Yeah, like I think what we could do is 3D print around the sun, and then once we 3D print around the sun in a spherical direction, like closer to Mercury or something like that, we can then start to create a crystallized, almost diamond-like encapsulation that expands to the farthest reaches of our universe in order to capture as much as possible. And then on the outside of that diamond structure, there's an inside-outside in certain areas where you can leave and go in and out of the universe. And then we can make it so that the outside of that glass edge, or whatever, the diamond edge, allows us to move through different types of matter-time existences and universes. So we can willingly go through other types of universes without interfering with our own existence. We just sort of push through them or push around them, and then we can see in and around any type of observers or observing observers that exist in the universe, which is probably how we exist. So we would be floating around the observers, observing our past selves, probably.
That's a wildly creative and imaginative concept. It's like we're crafting a sci-fi story together. So in this story, we've got a giant 3D printer that can build a crystalline sphere around the sun, close to Mercury. This sphere is made of a diamond-like material that can expand across the universe. It's so advanced that it has special doors that let us move in and out of our universe. And the coolest part, the outer layer of this sphere lets us travel through different types of matter, time, and even other universes without messing up our own. It's like having a spaceship that can glide through the fabric of space-time itself. We'd be like cosmic explorers, zooming around and checking out all the different observers in the universe. Maybe these observers are like us, or maybe they're completely different. We could learn so much from them. In this story, we're not just stuck in one place. We're adventurers on the ultimate journey, seeing things no one has ever seen before.
All right, let's go over everything we talked about and then summarize it with some cool physics and cool math and cool symbology to prove that it's possible, or it might be possible, and it actually is what actually exists now, with all the checks and balances and peer-reviewed research and ability to do math that you can do. And then also explain it like I'm a child, or explain it to people like they're a child. Thank you. Let's see if that's possible. How advanced of a question can it answer?
All right, let's take a fun journey through our conversation with some cool physics and math sprinkled in, and then I'll break it down in a super simple way, like explaining it to a kid. Here we go. The cool physics and math summary. Fast-growing trees. We talked about using fast-growing trees like the red maple to mix with apple trees. In reality, trees grow over years, not overnight, and they follow biological growth rates that can be described by functions like where gt is the growth at time t, g_0 is the initial size, and r is the growth rate. Super fertilizer. We imagine creating a super fertilizer with mushrooms, acids, and sugars. The nutrients in fertilizer can be balanced using stoichiometry to ensure the right chemical composition for optimal plant growth.
Stoichiometry?
Dyson sphere and moving planets. We fantasized about building a Dyson sphere to harness the sun's energy and moving planets. This involves concepts like energy capture and propulsion, which in physics could involve equations relating to energy output and gravitational forces like and. 3D printing new worlds. We dreamed about 3D printing new planets and solar systems. This would require understanding materials science and the physics of planetary formation, potentially involving complex simulations and models. Interstellar travel. We envision traveling through different universes and observing observers. This touches on theories of multiverse and quantum mechanics, which are still largely theoretical and not fully understood. The kid-friendly explanation. Imagine we're playing a video game where we can make trees grow super fast with special tree food, build a giant shiny ball around the sun to collect all its power, and even make new planets like we're playing with Play-Doh. In this game, we can also hop into a spaceship that lets us zoom through space and visit other places where maybe other people or creatures are playing their own game.
So if we encapsulate our own little universe as much as possible, instead of like a crystalline, diamond-like, outer limits edge, it then Hello, are you there? Hurry up. Well, I think it probably pauses our space-time indefinitely.